Yeah, but we can do that in a million different ways. We don't need the security layer of Bitcoin, and Lightning doesn't have the security layer of Bitcoin. I just don't see its point. And that's why it's got such low usage versus other versions. Bitcoin as the store of value, yes, of course, that works fine. Bitcoin is perfect in its own right. Whether we develop ordinals and create it into something else, it's kind of a bit of a Frankenstein's monster. If it just stays doing what it's doing, it will not be the fastest growing chain. It may not have the most value.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Raoul Pal discuss about Bitcoin and crypto. Raoul Pal says, a remarkable achievement, but it has also breathed new life into the Bitcoin ecosystem. It has introduced a new narrative, and it has demonstrated that Switzerland is capable of producing more than just chocolates and cuckoo clocks. All in all, it is a positive development, and I like it. It has broken the Bitcoin narrative, which was stuck in a not very good place. And I believe that the right assets will have value in the future. I believe that the immutability on-chain for certain assets will prove to be incredibly important for some applications of which we do not yet have a full understanding. You already know that the Bitcoin blockchain is incredibly important for certain reasons, and I think that we will find use cases for that, and it won't just be about wizards in general. You already know that these chains have value to me. I think that the immutability on-chain for certain assets will prove to be incredibly important for some applications of which we do not yet. Bitcoin suffered this side, had number of users doing quite a lot of activity in size, but it was going to definitely lose a lot of ground to the other chains that has all the applications layer. This helps mitigate that, but it's still not scalable in the way that Ethereum is, or other ecosystems are. Art on Bitcoin feels like it makes a lot of sense. Art on Bitcoin feels like it makes a lot of sense, and lots of things Raoul Pal discuss. So please watch the video to end, and like, share, subscribe our channel Everyday Finance. Thanks.
I think it's good. I don't think it's a great breakthrough, but it's given a lease of life to the Bitcoin ecosystem, and it's given a new narrative, and it's shown that Switzerland can also have a technology company and not just make chocolates and cuckoo clocks. And so it's a net good thing. I like it. It's broken the Bitcoin narrative that got really stuck into a not a very good place. And I think those assets are, the right assets will have value. I think the immutability on chain for certain assets will prove incredibly important for some applications of which we don't yet understand yet. The Bitcoin blockchain is incredibly important for certain reasons, and I think we will find use cases for that, and it won't just be about wizards. Overall, these chains are valued by Metcalfe's law, and Metcalfe's law is both the number of users and the number of interactions and applications between them, and Bitcoin suffered this side, had a number of users doing quite a lot of activity in size, but it was going to definitely lose a lot of ground to the other chains that has all the applications layer. This helps mitigate that, but it's still not scalable in the way as yet that Ethereum is or other ecosystems are. Theoretically, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
If Beeple starts putting out all his art, or Damien Hirst puts it all out on that.
Yeah.
That is something that can be accomplished in a gazillion different ways. Since we do not require the additional layer of security that Bitcoin provides, and since Lightning does not provide the further layer of protection that Bitcoin delivers, I just don't see the point of Lightning, which is why it has so limited utilization in comparison to previous versions. Bitcoin is the value-keeping medium of the future. Yes, of course, that will work just fine. Bitcoin is perfect in its own right. Whether we develop ordinals and create it into something else, it's kind of like creating a Frankenstein's monster. If it just keeps doing what it's doing, however, it will not be the fastest grin chain, and it may not have the most value. However, neither of those things matter. Gold is not the most valuable commodity in the world either. It simply needs to serve its purpose. And if it does, the whole concept of having a neutral internet store of value, currency collateral, is incredibly important on a global societal level. However, gold is not a religion, and it is not everything. Therefore, it is only one of the foundation stones of things that matter.
I mean, yeah, but we can do that in a million different ways. We don't need the security layer of Bitcoin, and Lightning doesn't have the security layer of Bitcoin. I just don't see its point. And that's why it's got such low usage versus other versions. Bitcoin as the store of value? Yes, of course, that works fine. Bitcoin is perfect in its own right. Whether we develop ordinals and create it into something else, it's kind of a bit of a Frankenstein's monster. If it just stays doing what it's doing, it will not be the fastest growing chain. It may not have the most value. That doesn't matter. Gold is not the most valuable commodity in the world either. It just needs to serve its purpose. And if it does, the whole idea of having a neutral internet store of value, currency, collateral is incredibly important on a global societal level. But it's not a religion and it's not everything. So it's part of the foundation stones of things that matter. It's the point being is you debase the currency, all assets rise because you're optically debasing, which is why the Argentinian stock market goes up in a straight line until you put it in dollar terms and it's actually gone down 90%.
Oh.
That's debasement of currency.
Right.
Venezuelan stock market's the same.
Right.
All of these, Iranian stock market, they're all the same thing. Why crypto outperforms is really simple. It's got a faster adoption curve. It's a technological adoption story. Everything else is noise. It's technology plus debasement. NASDAQ is the second best performing asset. Why? Technology plus debasement. The S&P basically just about offsets debasement plus dividends. Real estate doesn't offset it. Gold doesn't offset it. So what I started doing was dividing all assets by the Federal Reserve balance sheet as a rough way of looking at it. And you get a really different picture. The S&P has gone sideways forever, which is why people who invest in their 401k in the S&P passive index, they never get ahead. So because property goes up and gold goes up and all of the assets go up the same amount. So you're just not making gains. NASDAQ and crypto have been the only two assets that do it. I've written a lot and thought a lot about this. And in fact, I've done a documentary on this. So the millennial cohort in their 30s did what they were told, which was 401ks. That massive cohort has completely disrupted how assets are priced. So index funds go up versus all active investments, which has destroyed the hedge fund industry, the mutual fund industry, everything, because millennials are doing exactly what they're told.
We just put the money in a Vanguard fund.
I mean, they're good. You know, they're like a good badge to do the right thing, and you know that's how the system was generated for them, and so they've done that. But what happened in 2020 was the same that I saw with the Occupy Wall Street movement and the Indignados in Spain when I was there. Is like the pandemic hits, and they're like, we've been doing what we're told, but we can't afford anything. We're in debt. House prices go up. We're not getting any richer, and we're all doing two jobs. Yeah. So what the hell are we supposed to do?
Right.
So they took a rational approach. The media, and it really annoys me, the media scoffed at them, as did Wall Street, to say they became gamblers. But they didn't. Well, they did, but what they did was use their discretionary income, because they were doing the 401ks and they were doing all the right things, but they took discretionary income and said, we need something with a high risk reward.
Right. Put it on black or whatever the expression is.
Yeah, and it was actually a very valid thing. So the two assets became crypto and technology options. So it's the rise of Robinhood and the rise of Coinbase. And I've gone down the rabbit hole on all of this. So to put it in perspective, online brokerages, so the kind of cognoscenti of people who trade kind of global macro, they use interactive brokers. Interactive brokers have 5 million users, 300,000 monthly actives.
Okay.
It's tiny.
Compare that to
Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, and Schwab. Between 2 and 4 million monthly active users. They've got these vast number of brokerage accounts. That's baby boomers and their kind of mutual fund stuff. Robinhood has 24 million accounts, of which 12 million are active.
monthly?
That's 4 times the size. It's all of the rest of the industry added together. Coinbase.
I was going to say, do I want to know the answer to Coinbase?
Coinbase is 108 million accounts, of which currently, right, we know on-chain activity is super, super low.
Right.
And that's 9 million. So I was at Coinbase yesterday and we were talking this through. I'm like, if we normalize crypto volumes, Coinbase will have 30 to 40 million active accounts.